Hey guys, AJ here, back with another one. So this is going to be the start of divorce week. So for today, we're going to look at an article called 15 Men Reveal the Moment They Knew That They Wanted a Divorce. And this is in Prevention Magazine. It was written by Bethany Heitman. It was published on January 10th, 2020. So in this article, there's going to be 15 scenarios of when men had an aha moment where they realized that they didn't want to be in their marriages anymore. Now, for those who don't know, men don't leave marriages. Women file for divorce 70 to 80% of the time. If they're college educated, it's 90% of the time. That means men will stay and men will deal with a lot of bullshit too. See, the prevailing narrative is that a woman leaves obviously because the man did something, and that's bullshit. So, what I want to do when I read these scenarios is I want to give my opinion on if after the guy in the scenario had his little aha moment, if he would leave or not. So, let's jump into this. Scenario 1. This is from Craig. He's 37 and he lives in Westport, Connecticut. I didn't want to go to therapy. It reads, she asked me to see a therapist with her. Things had been rocky for a while and she thought a professional might help. Her asking made me realize that nothing could help us. I was no longer in love with her and there wasn't any work that could be done that would make me fall in love with her again. So, do I think that Craig would have left? No. I think that he would have stayed because with most men, after a while, marriage is not really about happiness. There's a whole cheaper to keeper thing, and then there's just, you know what? I'm going to hash it out. So I don't think that he would have left. Number 2, this is from Steven. He's 45. He lives in Chicago. It's called Our Sex Life Was Non-Existent. And for those who don't know, 35% of marriages today are sexless. And this is across the board. So a lot of men out there, over 1 in 4, are not getting any sex right now in their marriages. So it reads, our sex life was non-existent. We hadn't had sex for 6 months. At first, I chalked it up to us being busy with our jobs and kids. I had planned a special weekend in the city for our wedding anniversary. We went to a nice dinner and then back to the hotel. I put on the moves. And she said she'd rather not. Ouch. I knew it was over. So, do I think that Steven would leave? No, because, like I said, over 1 in 4 men are in sexless marriages now. So, they just stay. Because men just stay and deal with not having sex. Not the majority, but enough. But I don't think that would be enough for a 45-year-old man to leave a wife and kids over. Now, he might cheat if he's some lawyer or doctor or guy that makes a lot of money. He might bang his secretary, but I don't think that he would leave. But I digress. Reason number 3, she broke into my phone. And this is from David. He's 33. He lives in Asheville, North Carolina. A great town, by the way. If you ever need a vacation, you're on the East Coast, go to Asheville. Lots of fun. And I want to caveat this by saying, dude, if anyone goes through your phone or breaks into your phone, guys, as a guy, if any chick does this, leave her. There's no reason why anyone should be. You know what? Don't even go through her phone either. Why? If you don't have trust in your relationship, just leave. If a girl tries to hack your phone or grab your phone out of your hand, don't freak out. Just wait till she leaves and lock the door and don't let her come back. But I digress. David says, I caught her going through my phone. She had done this before. There you go. She'd done it before, and he put up with it. She had done this before and had been a source of arguments for a long time. She got better about it for a while, but then it happened again. I knew it was over. I had never cheated on her and had never done anything to cause any sort of mistrust. I couldn't live the rest of my life with someone who would never trust me. So that's smart because ultimately he drop kicked her, but he married a woman who didn't trust him. That's his problem. She was probably showing signs of mistrust this entire time. And here's the thing about it, to any ladies listening to this. There are guys out there who are petty, who are saying, look, if you don't trust me, if I'm going to do the time and get all this shit from you, I might as well do the crime. And they're going to go out and cheat on you. So it is what it is. Scenario number 4. This is Eric. He's 40. He lives in Portland. It says, she cheated on me. Caveat, again, never, ever put up with cheating. Ever. Ever. I don't even need to go on more of a spiel than that. There's no reason why you should have to put up with any woman cheating on you, period. So he says, she cheated. The moment she told me, I knew that there was no way I could be able to move past it. I told her right then and there that I would be filing for divorce. My parents had infidelity in their marriage and it was hell to live in that house. There's no way I was going to live through that again. Now, in this case, I believe that he was going to leave. And then also in scenario 3, I believe he's going to leave. But in 3 and 4, obviously they left because they say so in the text here. So, reason number 5. This is from Paul, who lives in Austin. He's 42. He said, I knew we weren't in love anymore, but we had kids and didn't fight much. We were good roommates. But when she told me she wanted a divorce, I realized I did too. So, let's look at this one a little bit different here. She brought it up first. So, I think he felt okay to bring it up. But if she hadn't have brought it up, I think that he would have stayed. That they would have just been roommates and then lived and died when they were 80. Because that's what most guys do. So, reason number 6. Scenario 6. This is Sam. He's 39. He lives in New York. He said, I didn't care when she was flirting with someone else. We were at a holiday party and I saw my wife flirting with another guy. Nothing too serious, but definitely flirting. I didn't care at all. In fact, I thought, good for her. I figured that probably wasn't a good sign for our future. Well, it sounds like he didn't really love her in the first place, so I don't know why he married her. But I think that unless she brought up divorce first, like in the previous one, I think that he would still stay. Because they're not fighting, he didn't say they had anything else other than he was just meh. But guys can be in a meh type of marriage for a long time. So I don't think number 6 he would leave. Number 7. This is from Andrew. He's 35. He lives in Los Angeles. He says, I realize I don't want kids. Guys, this is something you cannot compromise on. You cannot compromise on kids. You can compromise on religion. You can compromise on, well, money's iffy. I wouldn't compromise on money, but you cannot compromise on kids. If you're with a chick and she says she wants kids and you've been in a marriage or a relationship, it's time to go. Throw the smoke bomb and disappear into the mist, because you cannot compromise on it. It's just going to cause you problems. And then she's going to maybe even try and do things like go off her birth control without telling you, poke holes in condoms, do all types of fucked up shit. So this says, after a few years of marriage, she wanted to start trying for a baby. I always thought that I wanted kids, but when it was time to actually have them, I had no desire. Kids were a deal breaker for her, so I know we needed to split. She deserved to have the life she wanted, and so did I. I think that he would leave. Or how about this? He would be a fool if he didn't. Because if a woman wants kids and you guys are having unprotected sex, she's gonna have kids. But I think that he would leave. Scenario number 8. This is from Joe. He's 46. He's in San Diego. Said, I was jealous of someone else's divorce. A co-worker told me she was getting a divorce and I was envious. It didn't have anything to do with her. I was just jealous she was getting out of her marriage. It firmed up that I needed to do the same. Now that's an odd one because usually men don't compare their relationships to other people's. So this guy's kind of a beta male anyways, but do I think that he'd have the balls to leave? I don't think so. I think he would stay and just be kind of bitter. So in the comments section, if you disagree, let me know, because I'd be interested to hear what you have to say. Number 9. This is from Evan. He's 36 and he lives in New York, New York. I developed feelings for another woman. He says, I developed feelings for another woman, really strong feelings. I didn't want to cheat on my wife, so I told her I wanted a divorce. Good on Evan. Dude, guys, if you have feelings for another woman, instead of cheating, just leave. Save yourself the heartache and just leave. Now, he obviously said that he would leave because in the text he said that he would, so good on him. Scenario 10. This is from Phil. He's 45. He lives in San Francisco. Our hours felt too lonely after the kids left. He says, we got married and had kids young. When our youngest left for college, the house felt so lonely. My wife and I no longer had anything in common, and we both knew we needed to split. Now, I have to kind of kick this off and say, if the wife didn't want to leave, I think that he would stay. Because a lot of guys, they've just been together for so long and they're into routine that like, fuck it. They're just going to stay together. So I don't think if the wife wanted to split, he would split. But if the wife wanted to split, he would split. So I know that's giving kind of a 50-50 answer, but there's a little bit of extra context in this text. Scenario 11. This is by Alex. He's 40. He lives in Philadelphia. I didn't miss her when she traveled. He said she started traveling a lot for work. I realized I didn't miss her. Actually, I started to look forward to the times where she'd be gone. Now, that's actually kind of funny. Now, I don't think he'd leave, honestly, because she's gone all the time. You know? If she came back like she quit her job, was around all the time. But I think that until he would just kind of stay married to her and just hang out and not leave. Scenario 12. We couldn't find anything to talk about. This is from Jim. He's 46. He's from Seattle. And yeah, I can tell that he's from Seattle because Seattle has that whole, well, I'll get into it in a bit. He says, we couldn't find anything to talk about. Friday was our date night. Every week we go out to dinner and catch up. One night I realized we didn't have anything to say to one another. It had been like that for a while. We wound up trying to make it work, but the feelings weren't there any longer. A year later, we got a divorce. Okay. So, obviously he would leave because he left in the text. But my issue with this scenario is a lot of guys, they meet their wives or girlfriends or whatever, and especially if she's really cute. You know you aren't with her to talk about war and peace and the political climate of the Middle East. You know what I'm saying? That's not what you're with her for. And then you think that all of a sudden, because you've been married for 20 years, all of a sudden she's going to go read, Keynesian economic theory? Come on, man. What are you doing? So, scenario 13. We're almost done, guys. This is Frank. He's 44. He lives in Boise, Idaho. She wasn't supportive of my life changes. This is a big one. He says, I struggled with depression for most of my 20s and 30s. In my 40s, I began taking meds and found a good therapist. Good on him. My life improved in a variety of ways. I felt more energetic, was happier at work, and started working out and getting into shape. My wife kept saying she missed the old me. What? So his old self was depressed, less energetic, miserable at work, and out of shape. And she said that she missed that guy. He says it wasn't just a passing comment either. Every time I tried to talk about how much better I felt, she'd complain. She didn't like that I went to the gym every day. She made fun of the things my therapist told me, and she sarcastically would make cracks about my meds. Yikes! I knew that I needed a supportive partner if I wanted to continue along this positive path. So, I think this guy would leave, and I'll tell you why. Because he made the change. He went to therapy and was taking his meds and started going to the gym. He's obviously been taking all the steps necessary to improve his life and drop kicking this whiny, horrible demon out of his life. Drop kicking right through the uprights would be the best thing for him to do. Go on, Frank. And guys, to anyone listening to this, not just as a wife or a girlfriend, anyone in your life that's being negative about positive changes in your life, your mom, your dad, your sister, your uncle, your friends, you don't need them. You don't need them. Kick them out of your life because you don't need them. Number 14. This is by Michael. He's 40 and he lives in Chicago. I started resenting her requests. He said, I don't think that there was one moment. It was a series of things over a course of a year. First, I found myself getting really annoyed anytime she asked me to do something around the house. Her requests were reasonable. It's not like she was asking me to do crazy things. The only time I wasn't annoyed was if she asked me to do something involving the kids. Then I found myself avoiding her. I found myself avoiding going to the bed at the same time. I played video games until she fell asleep, and then I slipped into the bedroom. I started piecing all these feelings together and came to a conclusion. I was no longer happy in the marriage. It's hard to explain to her why. I just wasn't into it anymore. I felt bad that I couldn't give her more of an answer. So, to me, it sounds like this guy. Let me see. Do they have kids? Yes, so they have kids. It sounds like maybe he knocked this girl up. I'm sorry, this girl got pregnant by him, and then they end up, quote unquote, doing the right thing and getting married, and then he tried to convince himself that he loved her, but he didn't. Like, he was just... Okay, so she got pregnant, probably. He proposed, and then all the emotional stuff of, oh, we're getting married and we're having kids and all this other stuff. Once all that's over, and then he's like, ugh, I don't really like this person. I think that that's where he ended up. And the reason why he couldn't give her more of an answer is because he never loved her in the first place. He doesn't want to feel like an asshole for telling her that. So, do I think he's gonna leave? I don't think so. I think that he's just gonna stay because he was stupid enough to marry her in the first place, and he didn't love her and have more kids. So I think he would stay, honestly, unless she divorced him. But he doesn't want to seem like an ass and leave her, so he'll stay. Number 15. This is the last one, guys. Chris, he's 38. He lives in Maplewood, New Jersey. I didn't want to turn into my in-laws. He said, we were spending time with my mother-in-law and father-in-law. My ex-wife is very similar to her mom, and I'm a lot like her father. As I watched my in-laws interact, and I realized that I didn't want that to be my future. They just didn't seem that happy. It's not even that they fought, they just seemed bored with one another. So I think this guy was probably gonna leave. But here's the thing. What people don't understand, what I've heard from people that have been married for a long time, is marriage is boring. Like, what is it that bad having like a boring marriage? What do you want? Some crazy marriage where you guys are fighting and kicking and scratching and acting stupid the whole time? I mean, especially being old. If they've been married for 30 years, I mean, of course their marriage will be boring. So, but that's pretty much it for now, guys. If you disagree with any of my takes and any of these scenarios, leave a comment at the bottom below. We're gonna have a couple more reactions, and then I'm gonna do a panel of some guys that I know who have either been divorced or in the process of a divorce. So hopefully that'll be a nice treat for you guys. Thanks to all my new subscribers, and thanks for everyone who leaves comments. You guys are awesome. This is AJ, and I am out of here.